Hello and welcome to a new video. In today's video, we're gonna take a look at the current rank 1 in the world team here from MeWeedle. We're going to have a team with the Walrein in the lead, the Saysop of the Quillfish. Having access to Ice Beam is very cool for this one because I always like to have like kind of the coverage that I have on the lead with the Saysop that we have here, which you're going to have with Ice on the lead with Walrein and the Icicle Spear, and we're going to of course have Ice on that Ice Beam from that Quillfish. Otherwise, we're going to have in the back here the Ariados, and this is of course a team here for the Great League Remix Cup, which is only really distinguished by the Walrein. Walrein is not allowed in the Halloween Cup, the other two Pokemon in the back would be allowed. But yeah, today we're going to take a look at this team. And honestly, I definitely had a bit of some issues with this team, but like we're gonna talk a little bit about this. It's gonna be funny, but we're gonna start off with the second set that I played with this team. I played a total of 12 games with it. We're gonna talk a bit about it as well. But as you're gonna see here, we're gonna go up against the the Galarian variant of Moltres, where they decided to go ahead and go for no shield, even though it could have been a nice beam against them. Great stuff there. They're gonna get the boost immediately. And that's kind of also something that happened quite often today. I don't know, like it was really like the team matchups I had were like perfect hard counters to this team a lot of times. But yeah, there are a few Pokemon that can be a bit problematic for this team. One of them would be, for example, something like Typhlosion even, because you're going to not really have great time hitting this boy with your lead as well as your closer. And so, yeah, Fire-type Pokemon can be a bit tricky, especially if they also are part Ghost typing, because then they even resist the poison damage. And so, yeah, there were definitely a few matchups later on, especially where we're gonna struggle a little bit with those Fire and Ghost Pokemon, which I haven't really seen before, but today we all saw them the entire time. Anyway, we're going to see already first game was still a victory, even though we encountered fire type, so we can still win against them. It's like not that unbeatable anyway. But yeah, we're going to have the normal variant actually of the Walrein, which is quite interesting. Not the Shadow variant, which usually was preferred. I feel like Walrein kind of would like to get a little bit of a buff. Maybe like a better secondary charge move would be really cool for it, a little bit cheaper than Earthquake. Earthquake is great coverage for this Pokemon. I would really like to have another maybe Ground type move. But I'm very likely that a Walrein not going to be able to learn Scorching Sands or something like this. But maybe there's like some kind of good coverage move for this Pokemon that still could be learning. Or maybe even a little bit of a fast move buff with something like a Walrein with a waterfall buff, of course. Would be kind of cool for this Pokemon. But still nice to see like a Pokemon like this hitting rank 1 in the world again. Shoutouts to MeWeedle as well. Of course, a link to their Twitter is going to be down in the description of the video. Definitely check them out. A very cool guy. Always see them at all the regionals. Yeah, very, very nice to see them actually hitting rank 1. They're very known for hitting rank 2 in the world, so cool to see that rank 1 happened again here. But anyway, we're going to see Whiscash going for that charge move here. Whiscash usually is going to be an okay matchup for us, as we're going to have access to the Trailblaze here, doing some nice damage. But as the opponent is going to still have a shield here, I rather decided to go for the bait, which is allow them to like still survive this with like a few HP. We can go for a lunge here, but we have to be a little bit careful because of course that Machamp, especially with that shield that they still had there, might be able to beat the entire team. I was able to catch the move here, which is really lucky for us. It is not going to be the Stone Edge that I wanted to catch though, and so it's down to if we can still win this battle here, but that's going to be a Rock Slide and they're gonna knock me out. Or not. They decided to go for a cross chop, somehow missed that with it as well. I can still go for the Trailblaze to boost my attack, knock them out, or like knock out the Whiscash, and now knock out the Machamp and still win the battle with a 1 HP in a Dream. Next opponent, we're going to encounter here the Steelix in the lead. That is going to be a very neutral matchup for us. It's not going to be the greatest matchup at all. But here's the thing as well, Steelix a lot of times gets paired with Dragon-type Pokemon, which I maybe should have thought a little bit more about earlier here. So ideally, I think I should have stopped out a little bit earlier. I definitely should have stopped out a little bit earlier. I got a shield here already from the opponent, which is kind of nice. But I feel like keeping my Walrein alive is quite important for this team anyway. You have an ABB stay alive here with this team anyway. But yeah, of course, the issue is that Quillfish is going to take super effective hits from that incoming Psychic Fangs, which we have to use a shield now up against it as well. And they're going to have the Goodra in the back, and I try to play it risky. I try to go here for the Awkward Tail instead of the Ice Beam, and it does not work out at all. Now we can go for the Ice Beam afterwards, but they're going to show afterwards as well here, as they're going to use no shield. Now they're going to have another Dragon-type Pokemon in the back. So it's Steelix, Goodra, and Dragonite. Very solid team for sure. I tried out before in this cup, by the way, which he didn't see a video because it didn't work out. Dragon Knight, Steelix, and Registeel, which I still think is a great team to run. It just didn't work out for me when I tried to use it. But yeah, here sadly, because we are a little bit in a difficult spot here, I would say. Maybe if I went for the Trailblaze against the opponent's Dragon Knight, I had a little bit of a chance because I let the move go through, but honestly, there's nothing I can do here anymore, and the opponent is sadly going to be able to win this battle just barely. Well played there. Should have played a little bit differently, should have stopped out a little bit earlier, but it is what it is. Next opponent, Pangoro in the lead. Like, honestly, we are not really getting great leads at all with the Walrein, but let's see if we can still come back from this one. We can swap out into the Quillfish, and as we're going to be able to hit this awkward here, the good thing about this is that we're going to unalign our switch clock. So, basically at this point, 15 seconds are already from my switch clock, but as I swap out now, their switch clock is still up, and like, basically at nearly, yeah, the entire 50 seconds now for the season. And as you guys see, we're going to be able to go for that Ice Beam. That's exactly kind of how this team is supposed to function. You're kind of supposed to get out the Pokemon that are weak usually to the Ice typing, still hit them with an Ice Beam, and then kind of try to align yourself afterwards. As you're going to see, the opponent still should be kind of locked in afterwards, I would imagine. Let's see what they're going to do. They're going to go into, oh, a Tentacruel. That's an interesting play. That's a very interesting play, to be fair. And they swap on to the Pangoro. Forcing a shield from me, a close commander would knock me out. They go for the bait. Well played there. I can go for my Icicle Spear. I should be able to reach the next one in time as well, basically. And so we're going to be able to either get 2 shields, or we're going to be able to get the knockout here, and 1 shield still on the opponent's side. But we're going to get 2 shields, and I'm actually more happy about this one as well now, because I can let those moves go through. I can just leave this Pokemon like this, and I can just try to go for the lunges against the opponent's other one. There we have a little bit of lag, denying us a 1 fast move. Clearly this doesn't matter, right? We would have knocked them out at this point. We would have only had the Tentacruel. They would have not been able to clear any debuffs or anything like this if we would have been able to get the move off there, the fast move off. But it's what it is. That's the game we play right now. We're going to see the lunge coming through here against the opponent. Guaranteed debuff on to their attack, and that is going to be very important because like this, we're going to be in a great spot. We just have to go for 1 Earthquake and knock them out. The opponent still should be locked into this matchup, but they're actually running such Wave. I didn't expect this at all. And so we're forced to go for a shield against the incoming Scald, very likely. We can go for the Earthquake, and they swapped out. They swapped onto the Pangoro, making this a very tough matchup to still come back from. In comes the Tentacruel, in comes our, Ariados. Can we still outspeed them? We barely outspeed them, and Ariados is going to be able to take this game home. A good game to the opponent here. Next one, we're going to have a Whiskitch in the lead. It's going to be a very neutral matchup for us, but funnily enough, we're going to have now the same speed as the opponent. They take, regenerate the same energy as the opponent as well. We do a little bit more damage with our fast move compared to Mudshot. I think Mudshot is 4 damage, and we have like 5 damage, I think, with the powders now. But yeah, we're gonna generate the energy at the same speed, and also Icicle Spear as well as the Mud Bomb has the same amount of energy needed as well. But yeah, we're gonna see the opponent's Walrein coming in. We're gonna be able to let the move go through. It's going to be just the Icicle Spear. So Walrein here, even against another Walrein, which is kind of funny. We're going to be able to go for the Trailblaze to boost our own attack, and this is going to be a little bit of a tough spot because we're forced to go for a shield here now. But we should be able to align ourselves. As we will see as well, Poison Sting is just adding up quite a bit, especially after those attack bars from Trailblaze, and they let the move even go through here, which is fine. We're gonna swap out here into our Walrein because I know they would have been able to go for a charge move beforehand. And so as you're gonna see here, we're gonna be able to now at least get a ton of damage onto the opponent. And as long as they're going to have a Pokemon in the back that kind of core breaks me, I should be fine. I think I should be fine here. If they're going to let the move go through, that's going to be great, because now I should be able to debuff them with my own Ariados. But then again, Walrein is going to be able to double resist the opponent's fast move, allowing us to stay alive here for way longer than expected. I can catch the move, but I'm actually kind of okay with that. We have the Quillfish still, while we're gonna try to go for the Awkward Tail, which is resisted. Poison Sting really hurts now since the recent move update. And so Awkward Tail is gonna connect here, gonna get the shield, and I can just use a shield. No matter what, we should be fine. Either they're gonna go for the Weather Ball bait, which is fine, and they still have to go for the Energy Ball, or they go for the Energy Ball here. And yeah, we're going to be able to outspeed them with that. And this is going to be a good game here. The opponent has nowhere to go, and they decide to forfeit as well. And that's going to be the first set for this team. And as you can see here, or like in total actually the second set, I just put the second set first. As you can see here, I'm not going to be able to catch a Stunfisk, but at least we had a 4-1 with this team. That's great, right? So now we're going to take a look at a little bit more of the issues of this team and why like rank 1 in the world teams might not always gonna function out as well for you compared to for them basically. What is happening for people who are really up in the leaderboards is basically that they're going to encounter the same set of people most of the times. They usually most of the times also kind of know what they're running already, like what the opponent's going to have, and they can adjust their team according to what they encounter. And it's very unlikely that Morpeko is one of those Pokemon here, as we can see, as the entire team struggles against it. Another Pokemon that's going to be a little bit tough is Skeledirge, and to be fair, before I tried this team, I haven't actually seen a single Skeledirge or really a Alolan Marowak in this meta at all. I know that Alolan Marowak has a quite decent rating. I actually think it's a better rating in the Halloween Cup though, compared to this meta here. But all of those Pokemon that basically are Ghost and Fire, or Ghost and Fire, yeah, Ghost and Fire actually was correct with that one, or just generally Fire in general, can be a little bit tricky for this team, as you're just going to have that weakness to Fire on Ariados. You're going to have the resisted damage output from your lead against it. Yes, you have Earthquake, but Earthquake takes ages to get to, so you kind of have to rely on something like a Quillfish, and then we're gonna see here again in the back Morpeko, which is a hard counter to the team. And basically, unless I'm going to be able to catch a move here in terms of Psychic Fangs, I have no way of winning this battle, and so I let the move go through. My only way would have been if they went for the Psychic Fangs, which they didn't, and so we're sadly going to lose the battle. And then we have like Pokemon like Golisopod, which is something that I definitely didn't expect either, which are going to be a little bit tricky to deal with. Again, as we will see, we're going to have the Awkward Tail coming through, we're going to get them a little bit lower at least, but again, like, I don't know, Walrein really didn't have a great day today. Like, the Pokemon that I encountered were not what I was expecting. Like, Walrein makes a lot of sense on paper, basically. There are a lot of Pokemon that would be able to beat or do like a lot of damage against, like, Golurk is one of the most common ones as well right now, and like, there are a lot of Pokemon where it would make a lot of sense to run the Walrein. But as we will see here, we're gonna try our best to go for the full Founder. Doesn't work out, the opponent swaps out, which is even better for us anyway. The Awkward Tail is coming through, gonna do some nice damage. And as we will see here, it's not going to be a great matchup. Like, what do we do against these Steelix? I feel like we always kind of had, like, especially like this was the first set. The first set, I can already spoiler, I went 0-5. I went 0-5 with this team, was like, okay, does this team actually work? The second set, I went 4-1. That's kind of also why you maybe don't want to give up those teams. But again, like, I don't think that this team is designed to counter Skeledirge. This team isn't designed to counter Bastion as well, apparently. Yeah, it is just sometimes a little bit difficult against the stuff that you see here. Because again, I don't think that Skeledirge is like a super common Pokemon that you're going to encounter in like higher up Elo range. I think it's not really designed to beat those Pokemon. That's something you just have to kind of make sure by. A lot of times, teams that are getting people just to Legends are better to copy than teams that are higher up the leaderboard, even though it doesn't make sense. Like, those people are like the best in the world. Like, why is the team not working in like lower Elo range? But it's just completely different meta there, because you already know basically what you're going up against. And in this case, a lot of the Pokemon I don't think knew before. But here the opponent actually decides to forfeit with their Fire type, which will run through my entire team. So thanks for that, man. And yeah, basically, funnily enough, in my first battles I did, like the first two battles, I both encountered a Marowak, which is just kind of funny, to be fair. I don't know, like, I just kind of found it funny because I was like thinking about it already in the beginning. I was like, oh, Marowak gonna be a little bit tricky, but like, what's the likelihood of us facing one? And yeah, apparently the likelihood is quite high. Could be that there's a meta change though. Like, this is the stuff as well, especially after like a few days, the meta kind of shifts a lot in like those limited metas, and this is definitely something that I can see here as well. People just kind of trying to figure out on how to counter what they encounter, and I guess that is kind of what they come up with, which is totally fair, and just maybe makes this team a little bit tricky to use for yourself. But anyway, we're going to take a look here at Bangoro. Bangoro are going to go for Night Slash. We still should be having a solid matchup here at least. My goal for this matchup is to just get as much energy as possible with the Quillfish actually, because they're going to still get to another move here anyway, but I can Poison Sting them down afterwards, and I just need the energy basically against whatever they have in the bag. It is going to be the Gustode, and as we will see here, I can go for one Ice Beam. This game is still not over. This is going to be enough to get them very low, but I had to go kind of for a charge move here, because otherwise I think they would have been able to go for their own charge move already. And as we will see here, this was a little bit annoying, because we are literally not going to be able to really do anything here. The opponent is going to be able to farm a lot extra, but in terms of the health, we still have enough to survive any kind of fast move from the opponent. But we're just not going to be able to outspeed them. Maybe I could have went for 1 or 2 more fast moves against the Gustode. I'm not too sure about it. Maybe I should have. But yeah, this is sadly going to be a loss. Maybe could have been avoidable, but again, very difficult matchup. And then I have a matchup like this one here. We have the Tropius, which seems fine. We have the Sableye, which seems okay as well. But like, what do we really do against Sableye? Like, literally, like, our backline has both Poison Sting, which is resisted. Yes, I'm going to be able to outspeed them with my Pokemon, but it's still going to be a bit tricky to really knock this one out. Because yes, you're going to do some decent damage with like Awkward with Lunge, with the Walrein's Icicle Spear, but you're never going to put them really into farm down range. And I feel like this might be a bit of an issue here. Maybe I should have stayed in for a little bit, I'm not too sure. But what we're going to see here for sure is that we're going to be able to go for the Awkward here, and the opponent's going to have the Tropius in the back. I can go for the Ice Beam, this is going to be double super effective. Let's see if they're going to use a shield. They do not, and so I can swap out blindly into the Ariados to debuff the opponent. And they have that Marowak. They have that Marowak, and I just really dislike this matchup. I really dislike this matchup, but I have to try to get basically all of the debuffs. The opponent cannot swap out anymore. I make a mistake here. I should have went for one extra fast move before going for this charge move. This was really, really silly, because it does not allow me to go for another lunge here. And this is going to be actually very impactful, because now the opponent does way more damage than I was anticipating, because they only had -2 instead of -3. And so this maybe again might be a matchup where I could have played a little bit better, could be the case. But also I could have not really known if the opponent wanted to go for a charge move against me first as well with that Ariados, so I don't know. But here, I did not expect that they would have that much energy left after all those charge moves anyway, but they were able to outspeed me here sadly, but even then, they're going to be able to outspeed me as well. I don't actually think that it mattered that the opponent did, like that I didn't get the extra lunge in, but it is what it is. This is going to be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. Thanks all for watching, and I will see you then. Bye bye.